And then we'll get into the political talk. Stick around. This is Q95. I did tell you we're starting off in a very, very special way this afternoon, Dominica, and then we will do the formal introductions when we're done. Okay? So we're gonna take it after 3. Let us go. You know, here at Q95, we always discover some new talents. Not known to you just yet, but they're known as the Smith Brothers. We're going to say good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Smith Brothers?
The Smith Brothers, yes.
All right, tell us about you. I heard you have some big show coming up.
Yes. Well, we are a group of 4 brothers. I being the eldest, Maxian Smith. I play the guitar. You'll find me playing piano as well. And the one after me is Micah Smith. And we have Megan Smith, who plays the bass. And then we have Micah Smith, who is in the studio with us right there. Say hello, Micah.
Hello.
All right. So what is his special skill?
His special skill is the lead singer.
How old are you, man? How old are you?
10 years old.
Only 10 years old. So,
yes.
All right, well, we're happy that we can have you and you can tell us about the Smith Brothers. Tell us more. When do you discover that you, as brothers, have a special skill, a special talent?
Well, that happened a long time ago, but if you're asking when did we come together as a band, then that would be about 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yes, sir.
So you are only now coming out to the public?
Well, we have performed at church. We also have performed at some events. Our uncle's wedding. We also performed at the Jazz and Creole Fringe event at the Urban Garden Cafe also. And we also performed at, let's say, Alliance Française, anywhere that ask us, okay, give us a little entertainment, you know. But now we decide to put out our own thing.
To make it big.
To try. Yes.
You've also brought along with you this afternoon, of course, this few minutes. I know your dad have been asking the few minutes that you have with us here on the talk on the block. The world is listening. Who else do you have with you in studios today?
Okay, and with me in studio, we have Al, known as Pac-Man.
Uh-huh.
And he is going to be doing a live painting at our concert.
Okay, live painting. Is he Dominican?
He is Dominican, but he lives in Guadeloupe.
Okay. So where will that concert be?
At the Goodwill Primary School.
At the Goodwill Primary
From 7
School.
p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Also in studio, we have with us Rotel Johnson, who is one of our background singers.
Okay.
Who will be singing with us at the concert.
All right. Are you doing anything for us before you go away this afternoon? You're going to be doing another number for us?
Yeah. We could probably
do that. All right. Think about it. I'm going to take a break. And when we come back, we'll, of course, speak a little to your guest. And we'll come back on the Talk on the Block. Starting in a very different way this afternoon. We're going to come back after this.
House Party Volume 1, House Party Volume 1, House Party Volume 1. Hot Bawi pour Glambé, Hot Capricien pour Kachako, Mouna Lage, Glamoun, tout le monde. Stima 6e août, Stima 6e août, on the strip, Lale Coco. House Party Volume 1. Ogwa Boom Super, Ogwa Bal Extraordinaire. Prospect Island, Mr. Mix aussi. DJ Flintastic, DJ Mafia, Oprah, Martin the Morning. Prince Wadix, Skylar, Philip Osforte, Cowboy Julian, Rivier Kaila. Is this a Golden State Warriors or a Brazil lineup? House Party Volume 1. Look at where ting down Tutland with. Spozu Kaides and Soca compare reggae, country and western. Sports, disco, cadence, menam, tout qualité musique. Large, mene maui, so mene crabs, so mene chicks, so mene buzo. Chick mene secret bezo. C'est $20, Selma only $20. Look at dance, call it arms in arms, Vijaya Vijay. House Party Volume 1, sponsorisé par Starry and Sons, Digicel, DBS Radio, QFM, the big station, Big Edge, Skyrim FM, Tony Sponge, Gator Sound, Mopping 2K4 et autres, messieurs, mesdames. House Party Volume 1, 6e août, Lale Coco on the street, Sakay Man.
Nature Island Cruise 951 on Live 95. Every day, Monday to Friday, exploring the sights, sounds, happening talk on the blocks, healthy lifestyles, and culture of Dominica. Enjoy daily giveaways of valuable products and services from leading businesses on the Nature Island of the Caribbean. Stay locked and immerse yourself in the breathtaking views from above the undulating hills and valleys, and in the magnificent marine adventures beneath our Caribbean Sea. All this and more on Nature Island Cruise 951 on Live 95, only on the big station. Get a taste of the enchanting Creole and indigenous cuisine and lifestyles of the charming people of Dominica. Experience the dynamic rhythms of our culture, music, and entertainment, our vibrant, unique niche agribusiness products, our refreshing range of colorful flowers, and the fabulous foliage in our horticulture. Explore the prolific life-sustaining values of our natural foods, herbal teas, spices, and medicines. All this and more on Nature Island Cruise 951. Every day, Monday to Friday, only on Q95, the big station.
Honey, what would you like?
Something to tingle my taste buds. Something sizzly and smoky.
Oh, yeah?
Something crispy and savory. Something hot and spicy. Something to satisfy all my tastes.
Oh, wow.
Honey, snap out of it.
Sorry, hon.
I'm asking you for KFC's new Smoke and Fire. Smoky, fiery.
Oh, wow. New recipe from KFC. Smoke and Fire. Spicy, smoky, crispy. For a limited time only. From KFC. Try our 2 sizzling offers. 4 wings, 1 fry, 1 16-ounce drink. Or 2-piece chicken, 1 corn, 1 16-ounce drink. Each offer only $12. KFC. Finger licking good.
Like us on Facebook.
Smoke and Fire. Fire.
Shopping is a lot easier with Quartz Ready Finance. Choose what you want from our wide range of quality products, and we take care of the rest. Quartz Ready Finance's affordability means there's no deposit. There's no need for a lump sum of cash. It's flexible, which means you choose your payment term and you're guaranteed the lowest monthly payments anywhere. Best of all, it's easy. Easy to get and easy to pay. Shop at Quartz today and get what you want hassle-free. Quartz Ready Finance. Easy, affordable, flexible.
I need a fast cash to get me started, cause I want to get ahead in life. When times get rough, you don't have to be tough. Fast cash will make it right.
$10 can be yours.
Fast cash. I need fast cash to get me started, cause I wanna get ahead in life. No matter what the problem, fast cash can solve it. Fast cash will make it right. Fast cash.
Fast cash. Your money, your way.
Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody. When last you went to party and heard this?
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
What about this?
I got chills, they're multiplying.
And this?
Come on, enjoy yourself.
House Party Volume 1, House Party Volume 1, House Party Volume 1. Kingdom Beer presents a House Party Volume 1 at the Strip Lade Coco on Sunday, August 6, 8 p.m. Featuring Mr. Mix, DJ Mafia, DJ Flintastic, Oprah, Martin the Morning, Peter Bros, and Prince Wadex. With special guest artists Philip Hosford and Cowboy Julian Riviere.
Shiloh.
House Party Volume 1, entrance only $20.
Why do I keep fooling myself?
Partners include Starren and Sons, Digicel, TVS Radio, QFM, the big station, Big Edge, Kyrie FM, Gator Sounds, Tony Sports, Mapping 2K4, and more. House Party Volume 1. House Party Volume 1, bringing back the days of intimate dancing, Afro, miniskirt, maxi skirt, petticoat, shirt, jack, crimpling, terrelin, polyester, block hill. House Party Volume 1 at the Strip Lade Coco, Sunday, August 6, 8 p.m. C'est obligatoire, vous êtes là.
And my knees are weak. My heart beats at every word you speak. Your eyes are like the shining sun. That's why I think of you. You are my world, and I sure desire you right. We're like the universe. Love is our God. You are my girl, and I am your guy. That's why we'll always stay in love.
I told you this afternoon we started in a very special way on Talk on the Block, featuring the Smith Brothers. And we also have with us in studio some guests there. I was going to say good afternoon, special good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you.
Hello.
How are you?
Okay, yeah.
Good. I hear you're doing background for the Smith Brothers.
Going to try something?
You're going to try something. All right. So what will that show feature? Is it tonight or tomorrow?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
From 7 p.m. at the Glue Primary School. It's going to feature Al Pacman, who's going to be doing live painting. And he's in the studio with us right now.
Good afternoon to you. How are you doing?
Hello, how are you?
Well, I see you've made yourself available for the Smith Brothers.
He's French, so
yes.
All right.
So sorry, I understand.
You understand.
My English is not very perfect.
Tell us about you, Mr. Patman. How are you?
I'm good.
You're very good.
Yes.
I can't speak too much.
Patois,
Yeah, I can speak a little patois, but I'm not very fluent with that with patois as well. But we want to welcome you. Bienvenue.
Thank you.
Thank you. And what sort of paintings will you be doing? Qui calde petit?
Là,
Vous savez parler en français?
Oui. Là qui produit un portrait à Brothers Family. Smith Brothers.
Ouais.
Et si nous voulons voir, ben, fait venir sur place pour constater le travail là.
All right, Smith Brothers. Any surprises tomorrow night that we can expect?
Okay, you're looking for performances from Kelsey Libla, Lady S, already.
All right.
JC. All of these people are being featured. And we have Sefer Bertrand from the Bridge 7 band. And you're coming in for a show.
A big show. All right, so big treat tomorrow night.
Yeah, and the Convent High School girls will also be playing music, the music class of the Convent High School.
Well, we've just featured to you here this afternoon some talent from some brothers. Four brothers?
Four brothers, yes.
Four brothers.
Two in the studio now. The first
Two in the studio. So we'll see a lot. We have a lot more to see tomorrow night.
Trust me. We also have the two others are now at practice, at a practice session, working with our pianist. Our pianist is also from Guadeloupe as well.
All right. I haven't asked your brother though. How do you do? You're only 10 years old.
I'm fine.
You're fine. He's fine. How long you been singing?
For like more than 3 years now.
You love singing?
Yes.
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 So we in for a big treat tomorrow night.
Yes, you are.
All right. 10-year-old, the lead singer of the Smith Brothers, in concert tomorrow night. We want to say thank you for coming in the studios. We're gonna take you in for a lot more when the brothers are all here. Yes, I'm sure you have a lot more to say to us.
Well, I just want to say that we have tickets on sale. It's not expensive. Prices are very low. As low as $10 for adults, $15 at the gate, and $5 for children.
Okay. When you're all together, I want you back in the studios, okay?
Okay, no problem.
And maybe on a Saturday morning when we do a little more music, all right?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in, huh?
Thank you, man.
Thank you very much. And thank you again, Father, for featuring your sons this afternoon on The Big Show. Any final words before you go?
I just want to thank all those that supported us and keep on supporting us, our sponsors.
You all right?
So I just want to thank... I just want to thank all the sponsors. The Goodway Primary School, DBS Radio, Vibes Radio, Q95 FM, Optical Services Limited, Jays Limited, Fine Foods Inc., Digicel, Mr. Damien Dublin, Catwheel Cafe, Vibes Radio, Urban Garden Cafe, Alliance Française, The French Shop, Ninth Live Studio, Burton Company, Exquisite Occasions, Pac-Man Painting, and all those that support us, our fans and supporters.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you again some other time. The Smith Brothers doing a special feature there on the Coast Talk on the block. We're happy we could do that for you. Thank you.
What would you like?
Something to tingle my taste buds. Something sizzly and smoky. Something crispy and savory. Something hot and spicy. Something to satisfy all my tastes.
Oh, wow.
Honey, stop all
Sorry, hon.
I'm asking you for KFC's new Smoke and Fire. Smoky, fiery.
Oh, wow. New recipe from KFC. Smoke and Fire. Spicy, smoky, crispy. For a limited time only. From KFC. Try our 2 sizzling offers. 4 wings, 1 fry, 1 16-ounce drink. Or 2-piece chicken, 1 corn, 1 16-ounce drink. Each offer only $12. KFC. Finger licking good.
Like us on Facebook.
Smoke and Fire. Fire.
Let's go.
I hope you know for the taking.
Hey yo, it's all about Summer Splash 2017. Summer Splash 2017. And every Saturday at Water Park on the Lucia Highway. Water Park on the Lucia Highway. Between the boardwalk and the strip. Come out to party. Come out to get wet. We see it all summer long. Bang time 2 to 8 p.m. Admission only $10. Ladies free from 2 to 3 p.m. On the lineup, DJ Snow, the legendary DJ cut from Bucktown, and DJ Flip the Board. So grab your cruise and let's head down to Water Park for Summer Splash 2017. This and every Saturday. Mad thing.
Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody.
When last you went to party and heard this?
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
What about this?
I got chills. They're multiplying.
And this?
Come on and try yourself.
House Party Volume 1, House Party Volume 1, House Party Volume 1. Kingdom Beer presents a House Party Volume 1 at the Strip Lade Coco on Sunday, August 6, 8 p.m. Featuring Mr. Mix, DJ Matthew, DJ Flintastic, Oprah, Martin the Morning, Peter Bros, and Prince Wadex. With special guest artists Philip Hosford and Cowboy Julian Riviere.
Shiloh.
House Party Volume 1, entrance only $20.
Why do I keep fooling myself?
Partners include Starren and Sons, Digicel, TVS Radio, QFM, the big station, Big Edge, Kyrie FM, Gator Sounds, Tony Sports, Mapping 2K4, and more. House Party Volume 1. House Party Volume 1, bringing back the days of intimate dancing, Afro, miniskirt, maxi skirt, petticoat, shirt, jack, crimpling, terrelin, polyester, block hill. House Party Volume 1 at the Strip Lade Coco, Sunday, August 6, 8 p.m. C'est obligatoire, vous êtes là.
Many things to talk about in so little time. Of course, we started this afternoon with a special feature discovering the Smith Brothers. We always very versatile here on Q95. In the next half an hour, we're going to be taking your phone calls and opening the lines a little bit here. So for now, we will be taking your phone calls. Everybody's calling me to feature their special feature. I'm going to give you half an hour to do this, and we'll talk on a specific subject at 2 o'clock. So we opening the lines at this time. I may be asking Carlisle John Baptist, what's in the news on the block? You may just find out. My sources tell me there may be may have been some breakthrough in the Muslim store robbery some weeks ago. Hearing that police may be following some leads at this time. Big for the police. Hello, talk to me. Oh, somebody was on the line. But did not stay on the line. We're coming back again to take your phone calls after this.
Hey yo, it's all about Summer Splash 2017. Summer Splash 2017. And every Saturday at Water Park on the Lucia Highway. Water Park on the Lucia Highway. Between the boardwalk and the strip. Come out to party. Come out to get wet. We see what it all summer long. Bang time 2 to 8 p.m. Admission only $10. Ladies free from 2 to 3 p.m. On the lineup, DJ Snow, the legendary DJ cut from Bucktown, and DJ Flip the Board. So grab your cruise and let's head down to Water Park for Summer Splash 2017. This and every Saturday. Mad thing.
Nature Island Cruise 951 on Live 95. Every day, Monday to Friday, exploring the sights, sounds, happening talk on the blocks, healthy lifestyles, and culture of Dominica. Enjoy daily giveaways of valuable products and services from leading businesses on the Nature Island of the Caribbean. Stay locked and immerse yourself in the breathtaking views from above the undulating hills and valleys, and in the magnificent marine adventures beneath our Caribbean Sea. All this and more on Nature Island Cruise 951 on Live 95, only on the big station. Get a taste of the enchanting Creole and indigenous cuisine and lifestyles of the charming people of Dominica. Experience the dynamic rhythms of our culture, music, and entertainment, our vibrant, unique niche agribusiness products, our refreshing range of colorful flowers, and the fabulous foliage in our horticulture. Explore the prolific life-sustaining values of our natural foods, herbal teas, spices, and medicines. All this and more on Nature Island Cruise 951. Every day, Monday to Friday, only on Q95, the big station.
When last Once you went to party and heard this,
everybody was kung fu fighting.
What about this?
I got chills, they're multiplying.
And this.
Come on and show yourself.
House Party Volume 1, House Party Volume 1, House Party Volume 1. Kingdom Beer presents a House Party Volume 1 at the Strip Lade Coco on Sunday, August 6, 8 p.m. Featuring Mr. Mix, DJ Mafia, DJ Flintastic, Oprah, Martin the Morning, Peter Bros, and Prince Wadex. With special guest artists Philip Hosford and Cowboy Julian Riviere.
Shiloh, Shiloh.
House Party Volume 1, entrance only $20.
Why do I keep fooling myself?
Partners include Starren and Sons, Digicel, TVS Radio, QFM, the big station, Big Edge, Kyrie FM, Gator Sounds, Tony Sports, Mapping 2K4, and more. House Party Volume 1. House Party Volume 1, bringing back the days of intimate dancing, Afro, miniskirt, maxi skirt, petticoat, shirt, jack, crimpling, terrelin, and polyester, block hill. House Party Volume 1 at the Strip Lade Coco, Sunday, August 6, 8 p.m. C'est obligatoire, vous êtes là.
I want you to pay attention here this afternoon. Pay close attention. You know, sometimes somebody is suggesting to me Dominicans do not listen, and it's so sad. Mr. Astafan, who represented Skerrit in the dual citizenship case, has indicated quite clearly that Mr. Skerrit was the beneficiary of a judicial error which unfortunately could have been reversed. Listen to his statement in October 2016. He says the appeal court ruled in favor of Skerrit because there was no evidence that he had a French passport. But he then goes on to admit what all know, and in respect of which the court blindfolded itself, that Mr. Skerrit had a French passport to which he was entitled and for which the court could not have disqualified him because he was born in France and was therefore a citizen of France by birth. Mr. Skerrit was born at the Princess Margaret Hospital in Goodwell and consequently cannot be a citizen of France by birth. Mr. Asafan therefore agrees that according to the qualifying criteria set out in the Constitution, Mr. Skerrit was disqualified to contest in 2009 election and was allowed to serve an entire 5-year term as an illegal prime minister. Dominicans, listen very attentively.
Said, in fact, the court was unanimous. The court was unanimous that there was no evidence to show that
we don't want to miss out a word, so let's take it from the top.
Had a passport or had renewed it. And they relied on the Jamaican case where it was a Jamaican fellow who became a naturalized citizen of the United States and had to apply and so on, whatever. Well, that's my recollection.
Mm-hmm.
But there were other facts too that he did to show he had some allegiance to the United States. The Grand Court of the Turks and of the Cayman Islands delivered a resoundingly powerful constitutional judgment a few years ago, that if born in the United States or in a foreign country, and by birth you're a citizen of that state, entitled as of right to a passport, and to renew the passport as of right, without swearing any oath of allegiance to the state in which you were born, that could never constitute a disqualifying factor at all for the purposes of the Constitution and election. The only issue they relied on against Peter Sejan, the Prime Minister, was that they had a passport which they renewed, but they were both born in France, in Guadeloupe, and that being part of France, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, being entitled as of right to a French passport by birth and by citizenship by birth, the Grand Court of the Cayman Islands said that that could never constitute a disqualifying factor under the Constitution for the purposes of being an elected member of the House. And they're still going on that.
What is really going on in this our Dominica? Are you surprised that Mr. Crispin Gregoire spoke and will speak again on Sunday night on this very subject of illegality? And we sit by. What's really going on? Let's listen.
You are aware that the Prime Minister had dual citizenship.
Well, what happened, Matt, it was actually declared at that meeting of candidates that week before he dissolved the House. In fact, that was the first time the party was hearing that maybe there were rumors around, but for the first time he owned up, right? In my presence. Well, here's what they did. They tried, again, it was part of their machinations to block me. They brought Alec Lawrence to the meeting to talk about who can legally be, who is legally qualified to be a candidate, eligible to be candidate. So when Alec Lawrence asked, any of you have dual citizenship, I put up my hand. When I looked around the room, I was sitting in the front seat, Mark, in the front row. When I looked around, I saw I had colleagues in the back of the room who had their hand up, including the Prime Minister. And but I said, that's not the problem. I mean, we can solve that problem by renouncing before nomination day. To my amazement now, he said it was too late for me to renounce. I thought the man would do what I had told him to do, which was to renounce, he and Peter Sajan, before nomination day. Then, man, after they let nomination day pass, they took their risk. And then somebody must have told them, boy, you guys are in trouble. So they're now writing to the ambassador of France to help them, give them special courtesy to renounce. But that is an idiotic stance, because all you have to do, if you really know what you're doing, you would go to the embassy of St. Lucia the next day, before nomination day, and take your oath.
So he was illegal then?
He was illegal. You know why he won the case? There are two reasons why he won the case. The judge put the onus on the opposition to produce the passport.
Present the evidence.
Right. Even though the opposition had all the details, the passport number, when it was issued, whatever. So the opposition simply couldn't do that. But the judge, and I always know it would come down to a political decision by the judge. That judge would not want to create a civil conflict in Dominica, because can you imagine if the Prime Minister had to resign under the circumstances? Matt, all hell would have break loose in 2009, and the Labour Party would find itself in disarray. So the judge decided, you know what is for my own sake and for peace and tranquility in that little nature island.
So we elected Crispin Gregoire, an illegal Prime Minister.
Yes, we did.
Wow.
The guy was not. The guy, he had dual citizenship. I mean, Matt, just ask a fundamental question: why do we get dual citizenship? Is it not to get a passport to travel on that citizenship? Why would you get American citizenship or French? The passport comes with it.
It's very clear.
The question remains though, what can we, if anything, do about this now that these secrets, if you will, have been revealed by the UN ambassador, former UN ambassador? Hello. All right, let's take another phone call. Are you there? Hi.
Yes, Matt, I am here. Good afternoon.
Yes, the question I'm asking is after, now that you know all of these things and more information is coming forward. What can we do? We actually, it appears, dealing with an illegal prime minister. What can you do?
Matt,
water is under the bridge, they say.
As far as I know, Matt, as far as I remember, I think there was a case sometime in Britain where when somebody was acquitted, but they got evidence subsequently that proved that what the person did to get away. I think it was some minister of government. I don't remember the case exactly. And the case was reopened and the person was convicted. But I don't know what happened in Dominica and the OECS court, because I really don't know what we have for judges.
But wouldn't it be the same, though, sir? Wouldn't it be the same that maybe the passport will never be presented?
Well, you see, the other thing, Matt, is this. Before I go there, Matt, let me just touch on something that Anthony Estefan said. People keep talking about he's this great attorney, Matt. Matt, does the constitution of the Cayman or Grand Turk or whichever island he quotes, is it the same constitution requirement that Dominica has?
I would think.
If maybe the constitution does not have the same wording or the same requirement, but our constitution is clear. Dual citizenship, it is not. And whether you were born, whether you were naturalized, is dual citizenship. So I don't know how he could be this great lawyer and talking this kind of foolishness. And then he's saying the man was born in France, when the man was born in Princess Margaret Hospital. How could people be listening to somebody like that? Anyway, back to your question. The issue is, Matt, as Clayton said this morning, where a judge, a sitting judge, said openly that it is very unlikely that the courts in the Caribbean are likely to rule against the government. In other words, the judges make political decisions rather than legal decisions based on the law and the facts of the case when it involves a sitting government. So what happens to the opposition? Now, in the statement that Mr. Gregor made, when the judge was suggesting that the judge thought there would be chaos in Dominica if she had given Skerritt wrong, is this suggestion that the Labour Party and their supporters are hooligans? That they were not likely? I mean, this is insulting not to Dominicans generally, but more specifically to the Labour Party and its supporters. Because if the judge saying, if I rule based on the law and the facts as the case goes, the Labour Party and its supporters, there will be chaos in the country, and it's saying that they're hooligans. And they sit by and they accept this sort of thing, Matt. But, Matt, these things still go on, Matt. Matt, it is the people of Dominica who must now demand that justice be done. And these judges that do not want to leave the district, we want to know why a particular judge from Guyana does not want to leave the district.
Well, that answer I do not have at this point. I really don't have. I'm expected to be joined by attorney Joshua Francis in a minute. We will discuss this issue of the passport and more in a few minutes. Hello, talk to me.
Yes, but we attorney said that from the time the day after the case.
So why was nothing done about it?
Matt, that's what we're talking about now. Why was nothing done about it?
And is anything can anything be done?
Matt, something should be done because we have a lot of big-time lawyers in America. We have them in Dominica, and we as Dominicans should put our foot down to demand that Skerritt resign and made to pay Dominica for all how many years he stayed in office. He should pay back all that money. And you're asking me to call him Prime Minister, Matt? Have a blessed day, man.
Well, that's a different question there. Hello, it's 153. Hello.
Matt, you have a question.
Uh-huh.
About the situation. Let me tell you.
Yeah, tell me.
You know what the acronym LTTI stands for? In Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam in Sri Lanka. In short, the Tamil Tigers. They were the ones who invented suicide bombing. So you get.
But this is not something I advocate for, caller. I don't support violence. All right. Is there anything legal that can be done about this? And that's the reason why I asked the question. Listen, Dominica, on Sunday. Listen, it's coming up.
Q News. As it happens, when it happens, where it happens. Start.
A new round of evidence that diplomatic passports have been sold, and I would presume are being sold by the Dominica Labour Party now.
This coming Sunday, prepare your Sunday meals early and sit back and relax. The secret is out. Between You and Me special, 6 to 8 p.m. Sunday. You don't want to miss it. Right here on your favorite station. Let's take another phone call. Hello. Big one coming up on Sunday. And following the big Between You and Me special, if Lennox Linton will bring you a repeat of this week's Let's Talk on the Block with Crispin Gregoire. It's a big Sunday this Sunday in Q95. Hello.
Good afternoon.
That's me.
And your listeners here and abroad.
Uh-huh.
And anybody who's hearing my song or my voice.
Okay.
Matt, you asked us a very serious question this afternoon. What can be done legally?
Mm-hmm.
I am no lawyer, Matt, so I'm not going to venture there at all. When Joshua come in the studio with you or whichever lawyer you contact, they can deliberate on that. But what I am prepared to do with some patriots, Matt, which is already in the making, we are prepared, Matt, to give the ills that are happening in Dominica a coverage that Roosevelt Skerritt has never seen before or has never heard of. Matt, just an idea of what has to happen from our end. Because this business of this illegality, man.
Illegality, yes.
Yes, illegality of Roosevelt Skerritt. It cannot stand and it will not stand.
But it has been standing.
Yeah, it has been standing, but we are saying it will not continue to stand. We have decided, Matthias Peltier, from since 2000, where about Roosevelt Skerritt bought that land from this lady in Trafalgar.
Uh-huh.
We are heading back there. And basically documenting all the ills, all the evil, all the negative, everything that was done by Roosevelt Skerritt and by extension this administration that is in direct contravention of the laws of Dominica 1, our constitution in Dominica. We are going to document it and we are going to present it in a package form, in a bundle form, to whichever news agency want it, to CNN, to CBS, to our own local people down here, international, every organization that we deem fit, so that Roosevelt Skerritt will know he cannot continue to get away with this nonsense. These things have to come to a halt. Roosevelt Skerritt is not the God of Dominica, my brother. And a lot of people lately have been meeting me and telling me, why am I? Why am I? Why am I? Why am I? Because I am a patriot of my country, and I will speak to the ills that are happening so that justice can be meted out. Matt, I am basically fed up. Every day you hear in a different scandal, a different allegation about Roosevelt Skerritt and that administration. And it seems to me now that the judiciary in Dominica, they basically cannot do nothing with this government and Roosevelt Skerritt. So we now have to, yes, wash our dirty linens in the international and regional arena now, so that these guys will know they are covered. They will be cornered when they go and try and do all the zagamuzai wherever in the world, man. That is what we, the patriots, have committed ourselves to do, and it is up and running already. It is just a matter of time when it will be made public formally.
Caller, thank you very much. So you're saying that the people of Dominica are the only ones that can decide?
Yes.
All right, caller. Thank you very much. Hello. I'm asking, with all of this new information, what can be done? Hello, talk to me. Isn't he Prime Minister already? According to Dominica, hello.
Hello, my brother.
My brother, how you doing?
Boy, I'm afraid that you have to come and give some information because you hear exactly where the man heading to. He's heading up to Trafalgar on the land business. So what's your back here you might have to give. So let's finish with that. Let me give you the other note. Matt, it's a great job. But it's a job that I did not want to really, put myself in the botanical gardens because we could do something else for when the tourist is coming in the botanical gardens. But I want to congratulate the team and I want to call back the team. Matt, I want you to watch for yourself that the gate going into the gardens is now opening on the outside. It's bad. That gate should be opening on the inside, flat way. Because right now the transport have to go more out to Bend, to go Valley Road, or to go down Valley Road.
So your point is that they can do something about the opening and closing of that gate going into the gardens. That's it?
Matt,
Yes.
They can cut it down to make the gate open, but they just have to resurface it, and that's all.
All right, caller, thank you very much. It's 1:59. Hello, talk to me.
Good afternoon, Matt. I understood about an incident in Jordan.
Yes, I'm just hearing about a shooting, but it's not been confirmed in the Eggleston Girodale area. That's all I've been hearing, but I don't want to share the information unless it's confirmed by some official source. Okay? Thank you. But I'm hearing it. A lot of WhatsApp messages coming to my phone. All right. Hello, talk to me. Hi.
Hello. Yes. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
I am wondering whether you are aware of the St. Vincent court ruling.
What?
The petition.
No, is that has it just come in?
Yeah, it came in last week, where the Supreme Court, I think, ruled against Judge Cuttle's original ruling, and the petition for the.
I think they set aside a date for the counting of the ballots. That's what we got.
Right, that's what happened. So I was saying.
Yes, we heard about that.
Right. So I say where the Supreme Court ruled there was bias. The same principle could have been applied in the Skerritt case.
Well, it has not been applied though. You're trying to assume that they're going to rule the same thing, but we will have to wait and find out. Hello, talk to me.
Good afternoon, my father.
How are you doing?
Doing well, and I'm pleased to know that Mr. Francis is going to come to join you this afternoon.
Yes, he will. He will. We've promised to talk about it.
Okay, so I'm wondering if one of the things that may come up is jeopardy, because I'm not aware that, it may take effect in that island, or whether it is double jeopardy on that, case. So I'm just, throwing out a few things there. However, just to say to those who are saying they are called by the name of our Creator of the heavens and the earth, the question is, how so? And not resist the devil, the evil, because the people are malnourished in the land, they are lied to, they are taught another gospel and who the word of our Creator is. Wolves are dressed in sheep clothing, they roam and they grow. Because people are not, sharing the word that the people need to know, because if they were, the people would have been able to resist, to push back against all these evil deeds that are going on in the land, and not even to accept even bribes or any of these things. So I say to the people, you Israelites in the land, wake up. Because guess what? When unlawful deeds are done, guess what? When the laws are passed and that they are not, in your Creator's favor, do you think that you'll be protected? Don't you think you're the ones that have to go to be obeying these laws that will violate you all? So tend to think about so many things. It's time for you to take action.
But I'm asking you, saying take action. I mean, if everything is now surfacing, a big story there this week by the former ambassador to the United Nations, that yes, indeed, it was declared at that very important meeting in Mount Bruce that Mr. Skerritt had a passport. What can we do? Yes?
Things that can be done? Because
Well, tell me, I'm waiting.
we have to be aware of whose hand have they been strengthening, because they are the ones that have had the hands of that, party up. You find them in almost every area, every department. They are the ones that are pushing and as if not even calling out the evil that is going on in the land by those that are in leadership. So many things that can be done. And matter one last point I have to make, Mr. Gregoire, as always, we have our compassion going out to you as we heard about the passing of your mom. But be encouraged, because timing is so much, it's so important. Because I just hope she was at a position to be able to hear, because being a mother and to hear that your child come out, and be able to make things, right, and that is a start that must have sent her out with some significant joy. So thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. Hello, talk to me. 204.
Mr. Pelty.
Uh-huh.
The mental landscape is conducive for these criminals to flourish. Nothing can be done, Matt. You talk about legally. What can be done legally? It's only outside of the law people can seek a test. And again, how many Dominicans that are going to get outside of the law collectively and draw some legal attention to them in seeking redress in that particular case? Matt, I tell you, you play football, and I used to play football.
Okay.
Dominicans are none-do. You beat them with effortlessly, Matt. You just beat them effortlessly. You have nothing to do. The legs are wide open. You just...
So they're going to sit there and accept the fact that we have, according to what I'm hearing, an illegal prime minister?
Yeah, but that guy who sang the song, if the prime minister illegal, you can remember that and things. So that is what it is. And he is living by the letter of his utterances. No law. And Tony said he was the one who told him to say that, Matt. It's on the record. So, Matt, I am just watching Dominica. Dominica is a very peculiar place with peculiar people. We are strange, we are odd, we are unusual, Matt. And our tolerance level is frightening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On Sunday, Dominica, stay tuned. It's getting hotter and hotter on this big station.
A new round of evidence that diplomatic passports have been sold, and I would presume are being sold by the Dominica Labour Party now.
This coming Sunday, prepare your Sunday meals early and sit back and relax. The secret is out. Between You and Me special, 6 to 8 p.m. Sunday. You don't want to miss it. Hello.
Good afternoon, man.
Uh-huh.
What can we do?
Yes, I'm asking.
The nation should write a petition requesting that Skerrit resigns. We should get as many people as possible to sign. Take it to him, give him a deadline. It's been years I have been saying Tony Astapan hated that guy, but he hates Dominica more because now Dominica is in a mess. Okay? So you take it to him, give him a deadline to sign. Give him enough time, and we plan in the meantime. If he doesn't resign, what are Dominicans going to do? Here in Dominica...
But remember, caller, remember that he too has a lot of supporters, huh?
Huh?
He too have a lot of supporters.
If what?
I said he too, the Prime Minister, has a lot of supporters. Labour Party supporters.
Okay. But, I mean, you have something like that. So while you're getting signatures, you do an educational program and said, look, it's not a matter of hating Skerrit. It's a matter of righting the wrong, okay? We have gone through so much. They cannot handle Dominica. They cannot help the country, my God. So now it is in the open. So let them sit and decide, okay, let's call it quits. Let's call it quits, and let's give our country a break to survive. if they feel they don't want to do that, you know, we like to talk about what Martin Luther King said. And we always have it on the air, what Martin Luther King said. But we always leave out the part where he said, some will suffer physical death. We always leave that out. We always leave that out. You know, I mean, what else can we do? Sit and take that when these things has come to the open. Okay? Go to them, talk to them, send all who you think has what is not power nor influence over them, and let them do the correct thing to do. My God, this is our country. What do they expect? That now this is in the open, that Dominicans will just sit and take it?
That's a question that I'm asking. I'm looking for answers here. 209, what can be done at this stage of the game? Hello. 449-3095. Hello.
Good afternoon, Matt.
Hello.
God works in a mysterious way. Never underestimate God's power. The time has arrived. Thanks very much.
Hello. Hi, talk to me.
Yes, good afternoon, Matt, and good afternoon to all conscientious Dominicans. Matt, you asked this question, what can be done? Number one, open stock from prison and release all the prisoners. Secondly, we need the Scotland Yard in Dominica. And in the U.S., when something, a crime happened for 40 years, all they do, they wait. And whenever they get evidence, they reopen the case, they revisit it. So, Matt, as a top journalist, I would like you to call the United States, if you have friends that are attorneys, so that they can give advice on that. But definitely, that's a serious case. And then I believe Dominicans need to go further and further. The Bible says the way of the transgressor is hard.
Even if I have a lot of friends in the United States, the laws in your jurisdiction is a lot different than we in the Dominica and the Caribbean. Hello, talk to me.
Matt, you said Scary to have a lot of supporters. Who had more supporters than Patrick John? And when they turn against him, they did turn against him. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Hello, let's take a phone call. Come.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah. Come on.
Well, I find funny, Matt. Is that many people want to go to heaven, and none of them prepare to die. When I went to Parliament building on the 23rd of May, that's my observation. Many people want to go to heaven, but nobody prepared to die. Good afternoon, and thank you.
My friend, you haven't answered my question. What is it that we have to do to deal with the situation with what we've now been told is an illegal prime minister? Hello, talk to me. 449-3095. Hi.
Hey, boy, I have another question again. We need to introduce Islamic rule Sharia law. So significant books and rakabon we have in government.
Repeat, you scholar, take your time. We want to hear you. We want to hear you every word. What are you saying?
I say we need to introduce Islam Sharia laws to take care of these people.
You know that will not be possible in Dominica, all right? Let's be realistic. 449-3095. Let's take a phone call. Hello.
Matt.
I
mean, are you saying that we have an illegal prime minister in Dominica right now?
Based on what Mr. Crispin Gregoire is saying, did you hear him say that he have a passport?
Yeah,
you heard Mr. Anthony Astafan say the same?
He said that he was talking about the case of 209. That's what
My friend, did you hear Mr. Crispin Gregoire? Forgot?
Yes,
okay, what do you think?
He was talking about the case in 209, right? That's what he was talking about.
My friend, you're not answering my question, and you're still doing things that I don't want you to do. Call the radio station. Hello, talk to me. Hi. You cannot avoid this one. Hello.
What I'm suggesting that we should do now is all Dominicans that voted against that government go down to Roseau and block the road.
And block the road. Let's not talk about anything illegal. What, as I said, in a very legal way, what you think can be done. I'm asking a question. Hello, based on the utterances of the former ambassador who was in the room when the Prime Minister raised his hands. Hello, talk to me. Hello?
You're not aware of what you're doing.
My friend, I'm sorry. We've been told, according to, and I'll not allow you, but I'll talk. We've been told that the Prime Minister is illegal based on the ambassador's command. So it's not Matt Peltier that said, don't say that I said, okay? And we will continue this afternoon. Hello, talk to me. Hi.
Hello, Matt.
Uh-huh.
You're talking about what Christine Gregoire said, but what about what Sam say? You're making your damage control? That won't work. Thank you.
Hello, talk to me. I suspect a lot of diversionary tactics are being used this afternoon. Hello.
Yeah, Matt. I would like to Mr. Gregoire. What time he'll be on Sunday?
He'll be on from 8 p.m. Mr. Lennox will be on from 6 to 8, and Mr. Gregoire will be on from 8 to move on. Hello, talk to me.
Matt.
Yes.
If something is illegal, how can you correct it with legal? You have to fight fire with fire.
You have to find a legal way of fighting it. All right? I'm not one who speaks or who condones violence. I will tell you that. So you can tell them that I said that. I don't condone any violence. If there's a legal way, then we will talk about that. Hello, talk to me.
I'm talking about your propaganda.
Hello, sorry, my brother. I'll cut you off. Hello, talk to me.
Matt, if they don't like the word illegal, I think the illegitimate Prime Minister is more like it. The illegitimate Prime Minister. In other words, he's a bastard Prime Minister. Good afternoon.
Hello, talk to me. Hi. Uh-huh. We have a lot of upset people this afternoon there. Hello.
They know this all along, Matt. So what's it now? What's new? Nothing new. They knew all along that he was illegal Prime Minister.
Hello, thank you very much.
Hi, Matt Peltier. Good afternoon to you, my brother.
Hey, how you doing, my brother?
Yeah, not too bad at all.
You have a lot of upset people here now. Hello, talk to me.
What, Matt?
Yes.
Well, you know, I heard you. I heard you're cutting off a certain individual. You know what I mean? And again, you know, this is why we are in the situation that we are right now. It is because of persons like those. Because the guy has a boss man who sits there every day. See how he's trying to engage you and trying to get into this kind of business. That, I mean, at the position that the man holds, he should not be in it. But Matt, let me discuss something here in relation to this. Based on what Mr. Ambassador Gregoire said, it was Ali Clarence who was brought in. Are you listening to me, Matt?
Yes, I am.
It was Ali Clarence who was brought in to have a meeting with the candidates. It is the same Ali Clarence who is a member of the Electoral Commission that I sit on. And it's the same Ali Clarence who knows the criteria for persons who want to run for public office in relation to this. And it is the same Ali Clarence that little Tony said that it was he and Ali Clarence. Little Tony said it was he and Ali Clarence that came up with this famous quote we heard Roosevelt Skerrit saying, "No law, no constitution." It is on the record. And Ali Clarence is still sitting on the Electoral Commission. So when you're asking the question as to what we can do about the illegal Prime Minister,
well, I was told, I just want to correct you, I was told there by legal minds that the period we were talking about may have been between 2009 and 2014. He may have gone to St. Lucia to revoke it. So we have to be very careful, huh?
No. I'm saying based on what you said and what Mr. Gregoire said, that's what I'm talking about. Ali Clarence was the one who asked that question.
All right.
So what I'm saying is that Ali Clarence should have advised Roosevelt Skerrit what is the right course of action to take. And he did nothing. Ali Clarence is still a member of the Electoral Commission as we speak, my brother. And that is why I'm calling this afternoon again on my fellow colleagues. I've done that before. So I'm calling on Gerard Burton. I'm calling on Kondwani Williams and my colleague Hilary Shillingford to join me to ask for the removal of Ali Clarence as a member of the Electoral Commission. I believe when we start from there, we can understand and get places. But unless once we continue having persons like that in position, because he was aware, for him to have came there, I'm almost certainly sure. You know, I mean, I might be dead wrong, but I'm almost certainly sure, based on the relationship that exists between Alec Lawrence and Roosevelt Skerrit, Roosevelt Skerrit invite him up there to discuss this matter. So, you know, it just was really revealing, hearing how Mr. Ambassador Crispin Gregoire was treated. And there was my countryman, Dayton Baptist, also revoked his Antiguan citizenship, you know. You understand? As a result of that. Okay? And here it is. We are sitting today, and you have persons like this officer who's supposed to be on the job, getting himself engaged in the political matters of the day, and the commissioner sits there and do nothing about it. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Of course, let's listen to Mr. Crispin Gregoire again. And we're talking between the period of 2009-2014. Okay, let's listen to Mr. Gregoire again. What happened then?
You are aware that the Prime Minister had dual citizenship.
Well, what happened, Matt, it was actually declared at that meeting of candidates that week before he dissolved the House. In fact, that was the first time the party was hearing that maybe there were rumors around, but for the first time he owned up, right? In my presence. Well, here's what they did. They tried, again, it was part of their machinations to block me. They brought Alec Lawrence to the meeting to talk about who can legally be, who is legally qualified to be a candidate, eligible to be candidate. So when Alec Lawrence asked, any of you have dual citizenship, I put up my hand. When I looked around the room, I was sitting in the front seat, Mark, in the front row. When I looked around, I saw I had colleagues in the back of the room who had their hand up, including the Prime Minister. And but I said, you know, that's not the problem. I mean, we can solve that problem by renouncing before nomination day. To my amazement now, after he said it was too late for me to renounce, I thought the man would do what I had told him to do, which was to renounce, he and Peter Sajan, before nomination day. Then, man, after they let nomination day pass, they took their risk. And then somebody must have told them, boy, you guys are in trouble. So they're now writing to the ambassador of France to help them, give them special courtesy to renounce. But that is an idiotic stance, because all you have to do, if you really know what you're doing, you would go to the embassy of St. Lucia the next day, before nomination day, and take your oath.
So he was illegal then?
He was illegal. You know why he won the case? There are two reasons why he won the case. The judge put the onus on the opposition to produce the passport.
To present the evidence.
Right. Even though the opposition had all the details, the passport number, when it was issued, whatever. So the opposition simply couldn't do that. But the judge, and I always know it would come down to a political decision by the judge. That judge would not want to create a civil conflict in Dominica, because can you imagine if the Prime Minister had to resign under the circumstances? Matt, all hell would have break loose in 2009, you know? And the Labour Party would find itself in disarray.
Now, here's my question to you, Crispin. Maybe I should have asked that question. Why didn't you come forward with evidence when the case was on around that time? We're talking about 2009, huh? This was held, that meeting that you're talking about was on the 14th of November 2009. You knew then, Crispin Gregoire, you knew then, so why didn't you come forward with the necessary evidence? Maybe I'll get a chance, I know you're mourning at this time, maybe I'll get a chance to ask you the very question. Why didn't you come forward at that time when the evidence was very important then? Okay? It's all over. You can't go back to court at this time. Hello, talk to me. Hello, yes.
Good afternoon.
Uh-huh.
We seem to have two issues here. One relates to the question you posed, what can be done at this time regarding what Crispin is describing
yes.
as the illegal status of the Prime Minister.
At the Prime Minister at the time.
At this time, okay.
At that time, at that time.
The question will have to be posed to people who
have legal and constitutional training to find out if there is any opening after the time has passed for anything to be done. I think the ordinary people are not going to be able to give any rational response to that question. The second matter, which is what I think I'm not sure if it was Hillary or whoever it was, the second point is when another election comes up, are we going to be in a position to make sure that what happened at the last election regarding bringing people from overseas to vote in the Dominican elections, can that be terminated by the Electoral Commission taking certain appropriate actions to reform the system and to make sure we don't have a situation like that repeating itself? And the persons who said that, persons on the Electoral Commission should ask for the removal of certain guys on the, like Alec Lawrence, their removal because obviously they are corrupting the system, then I think that is the other way, the other action that can be taken. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Just getting some disturbing news that a young man from the Girardel community may have been shot dead on a passenger bus short while ago. I'm getting this information from, a very, very good source, reliable source, that one young man, of course, and it's a sad way to introduce our next guest this afternoon. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Hi, good afternoon to you, Matt, and good afternoon to your listeners. A special good afternoon to the people of the Rosa South constituency.
Maybe aside, I know you have not picked up all the information, maybe sad information for you at this time, given the fact that a young man from your community may have been shot dead. Well, and the bad news is, too, as well, he was shot dead on a passenger bus.
Well, I'm still hoping that is not true.
I can tell you,
sources,
I can tell you now, and you can go to the bank with this. This is reliable information.
Yeah, well, up to my visit here, I made some inquiries and I've been able to collect fragmented information. If what you said is true, it is really sad. And of course, publicly, I would love to submit my sincere condolences to the family.
Well, I will not release the name of the individual, given the fact that, how family can react and they may not even have heard about the news, but it's sad news there.
Well, when I leave here, I definitely will make an effort, not just via the phone. I probably go to the community of Eggleston to ascertain what transpired.
Well, from what I'm gathering, he may be from the village of Girardel.
Okay, well, Twin Villages, I'll be in the area to...
Yes, do that immediately.
Yeah, definitely.
Do that immediately. We're going to come back right after this.
I need a fast cash to get me started, because I want to get ahead in life. When times get rough, you don't have to be tough. Fast cash will make it right. Fast cash.
Get the cash advance you need.
Fast cash.
In just 2 hours.
Fast cash.
Up to $8,000 can be yours.
Fast cash. I need fast cash to get me started, because I want to get ahead in life. No matter what the problem, fast cash can solve it. Fast cash will make it right. Fast cash.
Fast cash. Your money, your way.
Shopping is a lot easier with Courts Ready Finance. Choose what you want from our wide range of quality products, and we take care of the rest. Courts Ready Finance's affordability means there's no deposit. There's no need for a lump sum of cash. It's flexible, which means you choose your payment term and you're guaranteed the lowest monthly payments anywhere. Best of all, it's easy. Easy to get and easy to pay. Shop at Courts today and get what you want hassle-free. Courts Ready Finance. Easy, affordable, flexible.
A new round of evidence that diplomatic passports have been sold, and I would presume are being sold by the Dominican Labour Party now.
This coming Sunday, prepare your Sunday meals early and sit back and relax. The secret is out. Between You and Me special, 6 to 8 p.m. Sunday. You don't want to miss it. suspect your telephones are going crazy. You getting some new information, Joshua?
Yes, Matt, but of course some of the information is very sensitive, and as such I cannot disclose them publicly.
You will not reveal the name of the individual.
And not the details either. I got some detailed information.
More reliable detail?
Yes.
Yes. Very, very, very amazing here. 2:29, we don't have too much time, but what is your take, Joshua, on the whole issue that's now surfacing? There's nothing you can do about it now because that period we're talking about is between 2009 and 2014, but it's just amazing.
Right. Well, Matt, first of all, for those who are interested in the matter, that is the case of Peter Seja and the Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. They could go online and get the judgment. Of course, you can go to the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court website and download the case and to read the case in its entirety. Of course, you do not have to be a legal engineer to appreciate the findings. So I do not have the time to really ventilate the legal discourse that occurred.
But in synopsis, though, what do you make of this?
Well, there are two things, Matt. I heard you and several callers pointing out that the Prime Minister is illegal, and I beg to differ. First of all,
I think it was a slip as it relates to the time frame between 2009 and 2014. That period in question, the big question could have been asked based on what we're hearing from the ambassador.
Well, two things, Matt. Let me just say, first of all, the issue of legality or illegality is determined by a court of law. A court is not perfect, but nonetheless, a court deals with issues and facts. And there are several legal procedures and mechanics which must be employed in the process or determination of whether somebody is found guilty or exonerated or vindicated. The question of whether somebody is found liable or not liable. The question of the election petition in the matter of Skerrit and Mr. Seja were on the issue of whether they had given allegiance to a foreign power pursuant to Section 32 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Dominica. And in determining whether these gentlemen were qualified for nomination in the 2009 general elections, the court had to take several things into consideration. And a lot of legal issues were dealt with, one of which would be the issue of subpoena, because the petitioners were trying to get the Prime Minister and his colleague in court. And of course, had they made themselves available in court, under cross-examination, the questions of A, do you have a passport, a French passport? B, where did you get that French passport? In an effort to come to the decision that these gentlemen did give foreign allegiance to France. Of course, if you recall, the issue of self-incrimination arose, and the court agreed with senior counsel Tony Astafan that if these gentlemen were allowed to be subpoenaed, then they would be incriminating themselves, and that was contrary, or according to his submission, that would be contrary to law. So there were a lot of ventilation going back and forth, and in the final conclusion, the court took a decision. Of course, in the Eastern Caribbean, as far as election petitions are concerned, the highest court which deals with election petition is the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. And as such, once the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court gives a decision, that's a finality in the matter. So from a legal point of view, the court did not hold the Prime Minister and Peter Seja as being illegal for the purpose of nomination or qualification to contest the 2009 election. So that is on the issue of law. I think the bigger question that Dominica must ask now is whether the Prime Minister has been an honest person. I think that's a bigger issue here, because in terms of law, we cannot do anything about it right now because the matter, as I said, has been brought to its final stages. Of course, with the ambassador, Mr. Gregoire, making certain revelations, that is just part of several revelations that had been made already as to determine whether the Prime Minister, in fact...
You're talking about the legality and illegality of the issue.
Well, Matt, as I said, the whole question of legality or illegality for the purpose of an election petition has to be dealt with by a court. So I summarize the situation. Of course, I just gave a...
Isn't there Caribbean Supreme Court, though?
There is the Caribbean Court of Justice, which is now the highest appellate court for Dominica. But for the purposes of election petitions, the highest court is the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, which means that the matter has already been dealt with at the highest level, and there's a finality. So
for you, the issue is honesty.
for me right now, the issue is honesty. I think what Dominicans have to ask themselves is whether that's a further indictment on the Prime Minister as far as being clean with the people. And in that petition and several other election petitions, you would hear the judges raising the issue of the People's Court versus the High Court and the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. So it is for the people to now determine whether this is somebody who they wish to continue to be the Prime Minister of Dominica. Of course, the opportunity will arise at the next general election. And Dominicans have to decide whether they believe in honesty, whether honesty is something which they champion. And if they do, then clearly this is a Prime Minister who
has not been honest with the people?
With the people. Because, Matt, it's simple. For any court matter, to determine whether somebody, for example, a criminal court matter, somebody allegedly committed an offense, the person has to go for a process. The police investigates, then the police officer arrests somebody, takes the person to court, the person is either given bail or not bail. That is for a criminal procedure. And the person is then, brought before the court, and the magistrate or the judge then determines the guilt of the person. Then, ultimately, whether the person is found guilty or not is based on the facts which have been brought forward. And then the legal practice involves a lot of technicalities and legal processes.
Well, let me ask you that, because someone just brought it to my attention.
Yes.
Is there a statute of limitation on perjury?
Not that I know of.
Is there perjury involved?
Matt, again, if you were to take that matter to court, you have to have a cause of action. On what basis is that matter? Or exactly what are you going to bring before the court? And who determines who are the people who are going to come forward to say that the Prime Minister lied? Perjury? Did he lie on the oath? The Prime Minister never appeared.
But are you aware, is there any statute of limitation?
No, not that.
On perjury?
Generally, fraud and so on do not have statute of limitations. But again, how are you going to get the Prime Minister in court for perjury when the Prime Minister never appeared in court for that matter? The opinion of Mr. Gregoire may be true or may not be true. Again, that is his opinion. He did not get an opportunity to speak in the matter. He was not called as a witness in the matter.
You think he should have been called? He should have made himself available?
Well, we didn't get to that stage. And even if he had made himself available, probably that would be inconsequential to the decision of the court based on the findings of the judges.
The fact that he saw somebody raise their hands?
Right, Matt, you see two things. What the court had to wrestle with is not just the issue of whether the Prime Minister was a dual citizen. That is just one of the first steps or tests that had to be determined. The bigger issue was whether the Prime Minister gave allegiance to a foreign power, in that case France, before the nomination or before the question of whether he was qualified to contest the election of 2009. That was the bigger issue. You can be a dual citizen and may be able to contest an election in Dominica. The question is whether during your lifetime as an adult you would have given allegiance to a foreign power. Because if you would have done so, then it means that you'd be unqualified. So in the case of the Prime Minister, the first thing was to determine whether he had a French passport, and B, to determine whether he had given allegiance to France during his adulthood. Now, one of the ways you could determine whether the Prime Minister had given allegiance to France is the question of whether he would have renewed his passport. So, for example, you would have heard the Prime Minister and his supporters make utterances that he would have obtained his French passport for his mother, meaning that when he was a child. At that stage, as a child, he would not have given allegiance to France. But during his adulthood, he would have had to renew the passport. And by renewing the passport, he would have had to take some kind of oath or make some kind of declarations. And that would have constituted allegiance to France. So the first test already had some difficulty because the Prime Minister himself was not allowed to come to court because the court came to the conclusion that it would be self-incrimination. Number two, the petitioners could not provide the physical passport itself, though they provided passport numbers, they provided some information. I think there was a letter where the Prime Minister sought his renunciation as a citizen of France, but that itself did not amount to the evidence that he held a French passport. And even if he did, even if the court had come to the conclusion that he did have a French passport, the bigger issue, the crux of the issue was whether he would have given allegiance to France, and that is where the case fell on his face. Of course, from a public point of view, gaining that information from Mr. Gregoire, we can now come to the conclusion that all along the Prime Minister had a passport, and B, he would have given allegiance to France, because there's no way his passport would not have been renewed from the time that he was a child to the time that he became Prime Minister. All passports expire in most countries after 5 years. So every 5 years, and in some cases every 10 years, 5 years for the children, every 10 years he would have had to renew his passport. So it would have been very likely that the Prime Minister would have renewed his French passport as an adult. Hence,
hello?
You'll be in violation of the Constitution of Dominica.
Caller, are you there?
Refresh my memory, even something right. The Constitution has something in place that when a person nominates someone and that is not illegal, presently legal to be nominated to run for.
You take your time. The lawyer is here. He'll speak to your question. Go ahead.
I said, is there a clause in the Constitution which said that whenever anybody nominate anyone to run for office, is there something that prevents, or is there any law in place, any punishment for the person who nominate that person to run for office? I just trying to understand something.
In other words, if you nominate somebody who you know may be illegal, is there some law speaking to that?
Well, I'm sure there would be some kind of law to hold that person responsible, but how would we know that someone would know that he or she would not be qualified or eligible to be nominated for an
So
election?
the person might not be privy to that information.
Well, as in this case, if you are speaking specifically to the Roosevelt Skerrit and Peter Seja matter, I'm not too sure those who nominated him would have been aware that both gentlemen, would have had French passport and be the one qualified to be nominated.
Another phone call there. We have 20 minutes, and of course we have some information coming in, very quickly about this shooting there in the Eglinton area, sometime about 1:45 this afternoon, and we're following this one. Hello.
Yes, Matt, good afternoon. Good afternoon to Mr. Joshua Francis and the listeners of Q95.
Yes.
Matt, I think I can remember hearing somebody who is knows much more about the French system say that until you reach 18 and you cannot attain the French citizenship, that you would have to be able to agree and swear that you are a Frenchman or a Dominican or a St. Lucian or whatever. To me, I can remember something like that. I'm not sure if that is so. And if that is so, then Mr. Roosevelt Skerrit was illegal then. I don't think there's any recourse now, Matt. And as Mrs. Francis said, it's up to the electorate to see whether Mr. Skerrit was speaking the truth at all or ever. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to another phone call. Hello. Is there anything you wanted to add?
Well, Matt, I'm glad that the caller really understood or understand what I'm saying, because there are two issues here: the question of the law and whether anything can be done given the revelation of Mr. Gregoire, meaning whether the case can be reopened or whether an appeal can be done to the Caribbean Court of Justice. I dealt with that issue.
Dead.
That is it. It's dead legally. As I said, the bigger issue is whether the Dominican public wish to question the honesty of the Prime Minister, because the revelation of Mr. Gregoire is a further indictment of the Prime Minister on the issue of sincerity. So it is for the people of Dominica to determine whether this is a gentleman who they wish to continue to operate at the highest political level in the country. Of course, in the past, I think a lot of Dominicans were satisfied that the Prime Minister did have a French passport. The second issue is more of a technical issue, the question of whether he would have given allegiance to France. And more than likely, from a commonsensical point of view, he would have given allegiance to France, given that at some point as an adult, he would have had to renew his French passport. And if the last caller is correct, it would mean that he would have taken an oath as an adult, and that would constitute allegiance to France. And therefore, if the court would have allowed such evidence to have been ventilated, then clearly the Prime Minister would have been declared unqualified to be nominated in 2009 general election. Hence, we would have had a by-election in the Vickers constituency. That the same would be applicable to Mr. Seja in Laplin. But that did not happen. And there's not much we can do right now except we can discuss the matter for intellectual and legal consumption. You know, it is part of...
That's what we're asking, and of course you've been invited here. What can we do at this time?
What we can do is to invoke the discussion, as you have done, and to ask Dominicans whether honesty is something they value. I wrote an article a few years ago on the issue of whether honesty has lost its place in our country, and I think...
How would you answer? You wrote this article a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I wrote an article, Has Honesty Lost?
When did you write that?
I think that was in 2011. Basically, you know, I distinguished between political gamesmanship and truth, because it is being said that politics is dirty and that we have to use tricks to gain the support of the electorate. So the Dominican public has to ask itself whether they want tricks from the politicians or they want truth. And if the Dominican public want truth, then clearly the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica would get a lot of flags, a lot of red marks, because we have caught him being dishonest on several occasions, and that is just one of several matters where he has been exposed. It didn't have to take Mr. Gregoire to convince me that the Prime Minister would have had...
Did you listen to Mr. Gregoire?
Part of it. I listened to part of the...
Well, the interview will be repeated. Everybody's talking about it on Sunday night.
Right.
When we'll come back, Dominica, take a few phone calls and we'll wrap it up at 3.
A new round of evidence that diplomatic passports have been sold, and I would presume are being sold by the Dominican Labour Party now.
This coming Sunday, prepare your Sunday meals early and sit back and relax. The secret is out. A Between You and Me special, 6 to 8 p.m. Sunday. You don't want to miss it.
Let's come back and talking to the MP for the South, Roseau South constituency this afternoon. We're exploring several issues, especially given the fact that we just heard the sad news from that constituency coming out of the Eggleston area.
Well, Matt, I just want to read some materials from an article which I wrote a couple of years ago. But before I do, I just need to remind the public, when it comes to court, we are dealing with issues of facts. When a court has to determine a matter, it deals with facts, and it measures the facts against the law, or the law against the facts.
Let me ask the question, yes. The very fact that you've said that, and Joshua Francis, this is the bold question. Has the court system failed us in recent times?
I don't think the court system has failed us. I think we have failed ourselves. And one of the elements of our failure is that we're no longer willing to stand for honesty. We are lip service worshippers. In Dominica has a lot of Christians. We are predominantly a Christian nation, but we worship God in the vanity of our minds. We say one thing, we preach one thing, but we don't stand up for what we preach. Of course, there are exceptions, but I believe if Dominicans were to stand up for Jesus the way they preach it, then Dominica will be in a different place.
And let's take a few more phone calls, because all the telephone lines are going at this time. Hello.
Hello, Matt. Hello, Matt.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, okay, Matt. My Prime Minister is blessed. And, Matt, I all willing to come and vote for him again. I call him from Guada, that's Guada, call it in Guada. And I all willing to come and vote for him. No one can touch my Prime Minister.
All right, and we respect that opinion. That's one thing about this radio station. We will allow all phone calls. We have no particular phone calls and no slant. Hello, talk to me, but we'll discuss. You won't prevent us from discussing all issues. Hello, talk to me.
Yes, Matt, good afternoon. And Mr. Francis, good afternoon to you.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello. Mr. Francis, I heard you made a statement and said, where you said that the court deals with facts. Now, juxtaposing that against the situation at hand, Mr. Skerritt's French passport was not produced in court as a fact. How then did the court arrive at, how could that decision be justice meted out in that matter? Because if the court deals with fact, as you say, my bro, I am just assuming that that is the piece, or that was the piece of document that was supposed to be presented, not by the opposition to go looking for Mr. Skerritt's passport. They had to subpoena Mr. Skerritt to bring that passport to tell the court or to make the court say, okay, yes or no, based on the passport evidence, you are not or you are a Frenchman. So I just find, Mr. Francis, the legal system in that scenario, it has failed Dominica. And that is just my opinion on the matter.
All right, caller, thank you very much. We'll take another phone call. Hello, talk to me.
Good afternoon, Mike. Good afternoon, Mr. Francis.
Uh-huh.
Matt, you know, the caller from Guadeloupe,
Uh-huh.
if he is coming into Dominica, paying his own way to come to Dominica,
Uh-huh.
no problem in that, you know. But he has to realize that if he's going to be given a ticket by the Prime Minister of the Labour Party or the United Workers' Party to come to Dominica to vote, it is illegal. And he has to realize that it is illegal.
But did he state what way he was coming to Dominica? He just said he's going to vote for his Prime Minister. So you have to be very careful. He never said what way he was coming to Dominica and if he was paying his way. He just said that he's going to vote for his Prime Minister. And that's his opinion here. You have to respect that, sir. Hello.
Yes, Matt, and hi, Josh.
Uh-huh.
I have a question for Josh.
Yes, go ahead.
When you file as a candidate, you complete a form, a petition form, that you swear on the penalty of perjury that the information you provide is true and correct. In other words, Mr. Skerritt and Mr. Petaseja would have signed the form saying that they do not hold any foreign allegiance.
Yes.
Now, finding out that they did have this.
Before you go any further, let me just correct you on that. Mr. Skerritt and Mr. Seja would not have filled in a form saying that they were not French citizens. They would have filled in a form saying that they were qualified. And the issue of qualifications, of course, would have to be dealt with by the court. Now, you're looking at two things. You're looking at conscience and you're looking at a court system. For the secular world, it would be a court of law to determine whether I'm eligible or ineligible to vote on the question of whether I would have given allegiance to a foreign power. I'm just saying, hypothetically, for me, on the question of Skerritt and Seja, I am saying the form would not have had what you stated.
All right. Are you there, sir?
What would the form have? Would the form have required you whatever you state should be true and correct?
It's correct. That part of it is correct. Yes.
Good. So if you say, to the best of your knowledge, you are eligible to be a candidate, and the Constitution says if you have foreign allegiance, you are eligible. Therefore, it means that you have said something, you have signed onto something that is not true and correct, to the best of your knowledge.
Briefly on that basis, especially where these gentlemen were given legal advice based on what Mr. Gregoire said. Now again, I am making my conclusion based on utterances from someone who was part of their circle. Because if what he said is true, and I'm going on the ground of speculation, because again, I do not know whether these are facts. But if these things are true, it means that the Prime Minister and his colleague, Mr. Seja, would have been advised that they could be found in a court of law as being unqualified. So they did sign the documents knowing that they could have been unqualified.
Are you there, caller, still?
Isn't that perjury?
Well, perjury again is determined by a court of law. So it goes back to the, right. It goes back to the court of law. But in a court of law, you have to go through a process. It's not just simply saying certain things and the court comes to a conclusion. The court has a mechanism in place. It has a system in place which rests on the issue of fairness. Now, you may not like the way it works, and the outcome may not always be suiting what you desire. It may not be in favor because our system is adversarial. Somebody loses, somebody wins. That's just the way it is.
So, but that is so, but at the same time, the court is supposed to be a referee between two sides. As you say, it's adversarial. You're playing a game of football. You have a referee and you have two sides. But if the referee decides to play on one side, then where is the referee? Which in this case, in my view, my observation, is that the court decided to play on one side.
Well, and you see, that is the observation, sir, and that may not necessarily be the conclusion or opinion of another person. I think you need to understand, just as the previous caller The issue of burden of proof stayed the same in an election petition. In that matter, the burden of proof would have been on the petitioner. The petitioner brought somebody to court. It is his responsibility
to prove. All right.
And that's basic law.
Let's take a phone call. Hello.
Yes, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to ask Mr. Joshua a question.
Well, that's what I brought him here for. He's the legal mind, huh?
Based on what he's saying,
yes.
The time when Ron Green and Peter Carbon go up because they are dual citizenship, it was wrong too.
If the gentleman did have a foreign passport and they would have given allegiance to whichever country for which they had the passports, they would be in the same predicament. They would be in the same predicament.
Caller, hello. Let's maybe I switched too early there. Somebody was on the phone there. Hello, talk to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I really find strange,
What is strange?
Just before the case, a little before the case, you find I saw the letter. I read the letter written by the Prime Minister and Mr. Sergent about the revocation of their passport and so on. There was not enough evidence put by the Prime Minister himself to have gotten everything solved there without even the passport in the court, because it was written on the paper, on our local paper, and I find they just brushed that aside. I bet Dominica, we under dictatorship.
You have to prove yourself. You have to bring that passport forward. You can write what you want, but if you don't have the hard evidence, I don't think the court will give it a second look.
Well, Matt, again, for those who are really interested to ascertain what transpired in the matter, I would suggest that they get the case online. You can Google the case, pull it up on page 6, the last paragraph, burden of proof. Paragraph 14, it reads, it is agreed that the burden of proving that Mr. Seja and Mr. Skerritt were disqualified pursuant to section 32(1) of the Constitution of Dominica rests on Mr. Green and Mr. Joseph, who were the petitioners.
Hello, talk to me.
If you're talking to me, yeah.
All right. Hello, talk to me. As I said to you, you have to prove. Hello, talk to me. Hi. Another phone call. So many telephone calls on the talk on the block. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, why is the court given a break? The court's supposed to establish a situation in a situation like that where the highest office in the land, the office supposed to be protected, the name of the office. That is what the Prime Minister have to clear the name of the office, and that's why the court must take the bull by the horn, and the court must ask for the documents and make sure that justice is being dispensed. Because the court cannot just take it like that and figure, well, this is the Prime Minister's office. The name of the office has to be cleared from disrepute, from all ill intentions. And this is what the court doesn't do. The court is not supposed to go on law alone. Law is based on common sense, common knowledge. And if most of the people think, well, it is wrong, the court's supposed to put a moral judgment and to clear the name of the office of the Prime Minister, which that Prime Minister never did in any case.
And I'm glad that caller brought the last part of his point. And that is where the Dominican public has to ask itself a question, whether we're really a Christian nation or not. He raised the question of whether the Prime Minister ever answered to the question. And not that I know of, Matt, I do not know whether you have any information concerning the Prime Minister speaking the truth to the nation. I think that's where the matter has to be dealt with. The issue of whether the Prime Minister was qualified or unqualified for the general election of 2009 would have to be asked to the Prime Minister directly. Sir, did you have a French passport? And if you did, when last was it renewed? You could ask, when did you get that French passport? Based on the responses, you would not need a court of law to conclude that the Prime Minister would have been disqualified in 2009.
You think the Prime Minister has to tell the nation the truth?
Well, he never did. And I'm one of the persons who is aware that the Prime Minister could very well would have been unqualified to contest the 2009 general election. Again, that is based on natural inference, and that would be based on information gathered from persons who would have known the Prime Minister, from the action of the Prime Minister himself, by virtue of the fact that he sought renunciation of his citizenship to France, is an admission that he did own a French passport. And from having that French passport, it's a natural extrapolation or natural inference that he would have had to give allegiance to France as an adult. and giving allegiance to France would have deemed him to be unqualified. Now that is as far as my opinion is concerned, and that may be the opinion of a lot of Dominicans, but that is not what transpired in the court. The court said, hey, you as a petitioner, the onus is on you to prove that the Prime Minister did give allegiance to a French nation.
Bring the evidence.
Right, the petitioners attempted to subpoena the gentleman to appear in court. Had he appeared in court, then the lawyer for the petitioner would have had the opportunity to cross-examine the Prime Minister. At that stage, if he lied, then he could have been held for perjury or contempt of court. That did not happen. So now it is the public to once again revisit the matter, among other matters, with the question, is this a man who is honest? And based on the response, the Dominican people will decide whether this is a man who they want to continue to run the country or whether this is a man who they want to stop as a Prime Minister.
Another big program on the big station. It's 1 minute to 3 o'clock. Next year, the Flow Hour. Dominica is coming up on Sunday. Our next stop is the Lime Hour right here. Joshua Francis, it was a pleasure. We'll do it again soon. We have a lot of issues to talk about.
Well, definitely, Matt. I was hoping to read some materials from my article, but that did not happen. But nonetheless, let me thank you as usual. Whenever you call on me, I squeeze some time once it's available to come and talk to the public. And that is what we need in Dominica. We need more persons to come out and speak the truth. You know, we need a more open and transparent nation. So let me just say good afternoon to you and good afternoon to all your listeners. And may God continue to bless Dominica.
And I suspect you're on your way to the hospital to check this gentleman.
Well, yes, I'm going to check the family.
My latest information indicate there that there was an earlier argument over some motorbike or something. But I'm trying to find out.
Well, and I also understand that the alleged victim is not from Jodel and Eggleston.
He's not?
No, he's not. He may have been friendly to somebody from Jodel. From what I gathered.
All right. Well, we'll put the pieces together and try to solve the puzzle sometime tomorrow. Thompson Fountain is coming back to hold on for me tomorrow. I'm going back to the court. You know it is. Court matters, court matters. There's a matter coming up with Mr. Mills tomorrow that has been much talked about. But we'll find out. I will tell you what is the results of that court action tomorrow on Q95. I'll see you tomorrow. I suspect what Thompson will be on the early hours on the hot seat. Stick around.
A new round of evidence that diplomatic passports have been sold, and I would presume are being sold by the Dominica Labour Party now.
This coming Sunday, prepare your Sunday meals early and sit back and relax. The secret is out. A Between You and Me special, 6 to 8 p.m. Sunday. You don't want to miss it.
Sunday, July the 9th, from 3 p.m. until, so roll out early. You heard me? A boom. Place to be Water Park, Lale Coco, between the boardwalk and the stadium. Admission of $20 up at 30 at the gate. Tickets available at Fretis and Bullseye Pharmacy. Grab your cool, pack your cooler, roll out in your numbers. You heard me? Live entertainment by Ed Eye, Team Problem, Triple K, Cash Mafia, Rio, Trilogy, DJ Slim, DJ MJ, DJ Flip the Boss. And this one is sponsored by Flow, Fine Foods, Caribbean, Bonus Car Rental, Link Up and Burn Off. This one is going to be crazy. It's all going down July the 9th. It's a sundown cooler fete and pool party. It's going to be crazy. And it's a Billy from King Oil song live from Antigua. Tell you, roll out. Mad, I'm out. Levels Entertainment present Sundown Cooler Fete and Pool Party. It's gonna be crazy. It's all going on Sunday, July the 9th, from 3 p.m. until, so roll out early. You heard me? A boom. Place to be Water Park, Lale Coco, between the boardwalk and the stadium. Admission of $20 up at 30 at the gate. Tickets available at Fretis and Bullseye Pharmacy. Grab your cool, pack your cooler, roll out in your numbers. You heard me? Live entertainment by Ed Eye, Team Problem, Triple K, Cash Mafia, Rio, Trilogy, DJ Slim, DJ MJ, DJ Flip the Boss. And this one is sponsored by Flow, Fine Foods, Caribbean, Bonus Car Rental, Link Up and Burn Off. This one is going to be crazy. It's all going down July the 9th. It's a sundown cooler fete and pool party. It's going to be crazy. And